Okay, we'll go ahead and call this work session into order. Thank you. 90-day plans, correct?
Yes. President Armijo, members of the board. As noted on the agenda, we have with us South Mountain Elementary Principal Davina Turner. And if you recall, in our last board meeting, the principals were presenting their 90-day plan for the fall semester. Principal Turner is here with us tonight to wrap that up. And then we have a presentation from our Learning Services Department and Education Technology Department about moving forward with some initiatives and some, computer science work that we're doing with the students and with the staff. So, President Armijo, if you're ready, members of the board, if you're ready, then we'll turn it over to Principal Turner. All right,
Thank you.
it's all yours, Davina.
Viviano and President Armijo and board members. So here is our opening page, and I will just go right to the next page. So our guiding coalition this summer, we met as soon as I knew that I was going to be in the school. I was emailing our guiding coalition, and so we reviewed our data from May. We had our 3rd through 5th MASA data, and so we reviewed the data with a lens that focused on their class. Then we broke it down to grade level. Went up grade level and then whole school. So that's how we looked at that. And then we began our data conversations, our root cause analysis, and working on what our next steps are. So just briefly, our data, in general, they're looking at it saying, boy, South Mountain really had some good data. So when you look at this, I'm not going to explain the data. I know that all of the other schools also gave some data there as well. But when you look at our levels 4 and 5, you look at kindergarten there for their math there on the left. Look at all of that green. That's very exciting. And yet the guiding coalition, they looked at, okay, so why do we have so much green? Was it a certain class that had so much green? How can we make sure each class is getting to the same place? And so that was our conversation with our iStation data. And of course, that's our focus as a structured support school also. Okay. And here again, that's our MASA data. That's a little bit difficult to see as well. I'm just going to come over here. Language arts, we have advanced and proficient, 18 and 15%. And here in math, we have 29 and 8 proficient and advanced, and that's whole school. So again, trying to figure out where are we in the whole school. We still have room to grow. And I'll go to the next slide. And so as a PLC, when we looked at the data, we really saw great fluctuation. And we never do this with the lens of the person. We always do this with the lens of the classroom and the whole grade level, like what is working and what is not. And so we saw some grade levels were doing better. And we never want to say, well, that's the students. We always want to say, well, what's happening in that classroom, so that this grade level seems to be higher in math, and then this grade level might be higher at vocabulary. So that's what we were really looking at. And through conversation, digging down, we felt like there were some things that we could do as whole grade level and whole schools, because it wasn't always aligned. Sometimes one class's rigor looked a little bit different than another class's rigor, or the alignment in the practice of the curriculum. Everyone's using the same curriculum, but in the practice of delivery and rigor of that curriculum. They also looked at some school surveys. We looked at classroom grades and performance, and then taking the basics of the district goals, coming in, so I knew the basics of the district goals, and I'm still working to dive deep to see how that works in our school and make sure it gets implemented fully. So we wanted to make sure those were included as well. And so our data said that 59% proficiency in math and 50% proficiency in our reading levels, that obviously we have room to grow. And the achievement was varying greatly because of our lack of common alignment in strategies, planning, and expectations. And so this is, you can tell that this is copied and pasted from the 90-day plan, so it's a little bit difficult to read. Both of these are very similar because this is just stating our review, this is the detail of our review of all of this, that 40% of our students were not proficient, that we were lacking common and aligned practices, and utilizing the common research-based strategies that impact their achievement negatively. And when teachers utilize and practice proven strategies, the student achievement will increase. So that's just, again, lots of words to say we want to come together and make sure that we're including everything with each person, each class, and each grade level. And so these are our critical action plans. I'm not going to read these from here because these are the details. On the next slide, I would like to give you our critical action plans in a nutshell. So we noticed that the PLC meetings were kind of not as focused as they could be, so we revisited the do 4 questions on our PLC agenda. Everybody has that every week, so it's at least a focus. Sometimes PLCs, we're still working on that. And so in the PLC, each week we have a different focus. So for example, 1 week a month we have an SEL focus. 1 week a month we have our data analysis focus and intervention. For example, this week they're looking at their October scores, determining if our walking to intervention are still correctly placed or if there needs to be some movement. So really driving their instruction by that. Then another week we have a focus of our SAT students, our special ed students, our wanting students. Where are the students that we see struggling, making sure that we focus on those as well. We are also, as a whole school, reigniting, as I know we are reigniting CHAMPS also, we're reigniting the ACE and RACE strategies, and those are answering strategies for both math and reading, and we're doing that as a grade level to make sure we're using the same rubric. We're doing that by then taking all the grade level scores and calibrating them amongst the teachers to make sure that we're all having the same writing expectations. And then we're taking that with the whole school to look at some medium and high, just to make sure that we are all on the same page in our rigor expectations. And those are strategies that are proven to improve comprehension, writing, understanding and depth of knowledge. And our teachers continue to participate in our letters training and our work with our structured literacy coach, which is part of our plan. And then I also am in the letters administration right now and learning that and making sure I'm aligned to what we need to do there. And our SEL focus is supporting our students through what we call our wanting list, and we are so excited to come tomorrow to hear more from Ruby Payne and how that connects with the wanting list that South Mountain has already started. And that's really to help those emotionally impoverished kiddos that we have. So that is our plan in a nutshell. Does anybody have any questions? Thanks. Thanks for letting me do this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The first 90-day plan. Yeah. Principal Turner has experience with 90-day plans and dealing with EPS plans from previous work that she did, but yeah, most definitely. All right, so next up on our work session, we have Mrs. Natalie Romero and Mrs. Chris Armijo from the Learning Services Department and our Education Technology Department for their presentation, teaching. What else is this now?
Preview to board policy.
Preview to board policy, yeah.
Okay. All right. Good evening, board members, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Viviano. So we have a presentation. Yeah. We are very excited to talk to you today and just have some dialogue with you over the topic of emerging technologies and specifically the use of AI. And so, before we really get started, there was an email sent to everybody, administrators, directors, board members, just a little while ago, about 5:55, and there's a link in there. If you have that open, if you can easily open your email and get that link, click on it. If not, you can go to, even on your cell phone, anybody can participate. Go to joinpd.com, just in a web browser, joinpd.com, and then you will enter this code, YWMAUG.
So if you didn't get the link via email, you can enter that way, joinpd.com. And that code will stay in the upper right-hand corner as well. Looks like we have that.
So today we want to talk to you about, and really begin the dialogue about the use of emerging technologies in the district, and really it's this conversation that we're so excited about. We have spent extensive time researching, Chris even more than I have, but I've never thought that I would be talking about AI in depth like I'm able to. So it's really about what it can do to empower not only our staff, not only our students, but hopefully and eventually our community.
Okay, I got you. Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's just fine. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
But I needed to get to there.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so the reason that we had you log in is because we do have just a few questions that we want to ask you to help connect and see where we're at and bring some context to all of this. So our first question, is, that was on from before, sorry. Okay, our first question is, how often do you use AI?
So please,
It's a multiple choice question, and
please feel free to answer.
yeah.
You have four
Answer
options.
truthfully. 'cause it's
Answer
anonymous.
truthfully, yes. You have 4 options there. It is totally anonymous.
Yeah.
We have a few people answering.
Yep, looks like we have them all.
All right.
So this is kind of, okay. So this is where we're at here. You might need to scroll just a little bit on that one to show. So we have a few that are using it daily, 1 that's using it weekly, 4 monthly, 4 almost never, and 2 that are saying, what is AI? Totally fair. Totally fair. Thank you for answering. Okay, move on to question number 2.
So question number 2 is,
Oops, let me go again.
question number 2 is, how do you feel about AI? There's been a lot of news or national media out there about AI, and maybe you've researched it, maybe you're in it, but how do you feel about AI? Please answer honestly, and again, it's anonymous. To be quite honest, in AI, OpenAI was released in November of 2022, and there was a meeting. We had a meeting, department meeting, about February of 2023, and there was a point in time where it was brought up, and one of my quick response, knee-jerk response, was, "We really need to turn this off right now." I did not know much about it, and I remember Chris saying,
Can we leave it on for staff, please? I can give you reasons.
so this definitely is a continuum, and that's a perfect example of the growth after some knowledge and talking and discussion and research, but also really just the continuum of growth when you are learning about AI. So our results.
So we have one that doesn't know enough to have an opinion yet, totally fair. Several that are excited about the doors it'll open, the opportunities it presents. A couple that are concerned. somewhere between concerned and terrified about the potential harms it may cause. Also very fair. And then kind of a balanced, I feel both excited and concerned about the impact it'll have. And we've talked a lot about, as a district, probably this is where we fall. In that balance. It absolutely does present a lot of opportunities to innovate and get to the next level of critical thinking and making some things happen, especially for our students, being future ready for digital workforce. But there are definitely, that has to be balanced with some valid concerns. And so we're going to talk about those things. So that's, so that's question number 2. Now we'll move on to question number 3. Let me hide responses before well, it's because we were doing this earlier, and that's why. Okay. This one's just a silly question. Just being nosy. Do you have a robot vacuum?
So Chris has a robot vacuum, and what is his name?
Bruce, because it's the Shark brand.
Bertram.
And
Bertram?
Yeah. Ours is Bruce because he's a shark, right, from Finding Nemo. Fish are friends, not food. But okay.
All right. Okay.
That's it for questions
All right.
for now. We'll be coming back to that maybe. So, especially to help our friends that are trying to learn what this is and form an opinion about it, what is AI? So AI stands for Artificial Intelligence, which is the simulation of human intelligent processes by machines, usually computers, but it can be other types of machines that are doing activities that are normal things that humans would normally be doing. So let's look at some common forms of AI.
So as we were kind of planning out this presentation, we started talking, and some things were even surprising to me. And so just things that you might not know that are AI or have a component of AI in them. So text editors, I think everybody in this room uses those every day. Spell check, autocorrect, Grammarly, and predictive text. So predictive text is found on your cell phones. If you're texting and it preemptively selects a word, that's AI. Popular apps such as Amazon, Netflix, Google Maps, and even online banking are ran by a component of AI. Digital assistants, I've been using Hey Siri so much. I know some other people that just, Hey Siri, Hey Siri, Hey Siri. But Google Assistant, Alexa, and then Bixby are also forms of AI. And then smart devices. Lots of you might have lights and appliances hooked to your Google Assistant or Alexa. That's AI. Robot vacuums, that's why we asked the question about robot vacuums, because that's a form of AI. And then camera doorbells and fitness trackers, Fitbits and smartwatches or Apple Watches are all forms of AI.
So that being said, I wish I could, don't look at the screen, let me turn off the responses first. Okay, so that being said, we're coming back to that first question. How often do you use AI?
You mean hourly?
Right. It's a lot more common, and it's been in a lot of things for a long time that many of us have been using, and you may not have even realized it was AI. And when we've asked this question in PD sessions that we've done here in the district and even outside of the district, we come back to this question afterwards, and the results really do seem to change, right? Now, almost the people that have answered are all saying every day. So it's part of your lives. So that's it for the interactive part. You can still follow along on your device if you wish, but that's it for the questions. We're going to share some information with you now. So we talked about all those common ways, and a lot of them, like I said, have been around for a long time. AI in general has been a topic of discussion actually for 40, 50 years, right? People have been talking about this idea of artificial intelligence, and it has been incorporated into different technologies and things that we've used over time, whether we knew it or not. And what happened recently that Natalie touched on was in November of 2022, a new generation of AI, it didn't come into existence then. It had been in development for quite some time already. But at that time, just less than a year ago, ChatGPT, which is a product of a company called OpenAI, was released commercially and to the public. And this is a new generation of AI. The technology is very different. This isn't machine learning. It's not as heavily programmed by humans. It's generative AI. These are large language models now that are trained on tons and tons and tons of data. And they're large language models. They use natural language. You can type in or even speak to these technologies in just regular everyday language, and they respond back using all that data that's at their disposal in language or by generating images that didn't exist before or even video that didn't exist before, just based on that natural language prompt that you've given it. Shortly after ChatGPT, it was followed then by Google's product, which is called Bard. Microsoft has a product called Bing. These are probably the three main common knowledge chatbots right now that are being used most widely, but there are hundreds, no, probably thousands more that are similar, same kind of technology. I also mentioned the image generators. These are just a few that have gotten very popular in the last year or so, but there are so many more. Every day there are new products coming out that are powered by this same kind of technology. So we're going to watch a video real quick that will give, it's short, but this will give a little bit more of the technical part of how ChatGPT specifically works.
Is it going to play on our devices?
No, it'll just play up here.
ChatGPT is OpenAI's AI-powered chatbot that answers questions and prompts in any format you request. It can carry out a human-like conversation or write various content such as articles, social media posts, essays, emails, and even code. ChatGPT, released in November 2022, is just one form of generative AI. The transformer pulls from a significant amount of data, or large language models, to formulate a response to requests. So no, ChatGPT is not sentient. Its responses come from the transformer predicting text, including the next word, sentence, or paragraph, based on the sequences of text it was trained on. ChatGPT so far has many entertainment, educational, and business use cases. It can write and debug code, write blog posts, script social media posts, summarize transcripts or podcasts, solve complex math problems, explain technical terms in a simple form, determine keywords for SEO, and the list goes on. But it's not always accurate, and at the time of this video, only uses data from 2021.
So we're going to talk about some of the ways that people in this learning community can leverage that technology.
So as we said in the title of this presentation, it was really leveraging AI to empower the community. And we're going to specifically talk about ways that we believe that AI can empower staff and students. So talking about staff, right now, and I think Catherine and Chris have presented, and Amy Ortiz have done some professional development with teachers within the district, both special education and general education teachers, in a few different ways. But some of these topics were covered. So teachers can write lesson plans and unit plans. They can put in a standard, if you will, into the prompt, into ChatGPT, and give it a prompt, a very specific prompt. And please write a lesson plan for 10th grade English Standard RI1. And please include, or I'm always very nice to it. I say please and thank you. So include 3 engaging activities where students need to write 2 paragraphed text responses. Also include a rubric to those text responses and 3 group project tasks. So that was a pretty significant prompt. That would have taken me probably 2 weeks of instructional time. And within about 5 seconds, it will generate that response and ideas. It can go more in depth, such as large unit plans when you incorporate multiple standards and a frame of time. It can provide feedback and automate grading. So if a teacher doesn't have the words for their, or let me back up. If a teacher creates a lesson plan, he or she could put that into ChatGPT, into the system, and it could provide feedback on strengthening that instructional plan. It can automate grading. Differentiation of instruction is just huge. Being able to meet students at all levels, and for instance, putting in a text passage at a 9th grade level, and maybe we have some readers in the classroom that are 5th grade or 6th grade, level readers in a 9th grade English class, and I can ask it to differentiate that, or to create the same text passage at a 7th grade reading level, and very quickly it will do that, and it will not lose any of the content. It can create personalized learning for students. As a teacher or a staff member, if I have a student or a group of students that are struggling in a specific area, and I would like to create maybe a study guide, but with multiple activities, multiple tasks for them to complete, it can create a plan with as many tasks, different tasks, that you ask it to, that you prompt it to. It can help teachers and staff in, for instance, PLCs, looking at data. If I have 3 teachers in a collaborative team meeting and they all bring assessment data to the team, to the meeting, we could put it into ChatGPT, and it could analyze all 3 teachers' data in one spreadsheet, reducing the amount of time that teachers have to do that themselves. It can provide, and it absolutely does provide, just the level of intensive suggestions for very creative accommodations, modifications, and intervention supports for students that might need to learn in a different way. And then on-the-spot language translation. So you can enter anything into it, and it can translate into any language at the drop of a hat.
So those are just some of the ways it can work, scratching the surface.
Including writing emails, responses, anything, of those types of tasks too.
Yeah. Okay, and then as a student, I'll preface this by saying it is still closed for students. We don't have ChatGPT or any other chatbots open for students at all at this time, and we don't have plans to open those particular ones. We do have a different education-based product that is part of the new computer science curriculum that we're in the process of getting on board with, that is a safer, more secure data privacy, everything for students, that we hope to have opened up in the weeks or months ahead, but right now we don't have that. But
on that note, can I just add? On that note, so in the district, in the safety walls of the district's web, we do not. However, we need to be very transparent in the fact that our students do have access to this on their own devices with their own private non-MESD emails when they can log in. So as quick or as easy as anybody with Snapchat right now, students all have Snapchat, there's an AI little chat bot that is OpenAI.
Right.
So they definitely are using it outside.
Just not on district devices
Yes.
with their account. Okay, so some of the things that students can do with it that really are very powerful for creating autonomy and empowering them in their own learning is in the same way a teacher can ask a chatbot to create a personalized learning plan for a student with specific needs or struggles or even needs for enrichment or whatever it is. Students can also learn how to prompt these bots to personalize a study plan for them. I'm getting ready to take a test on Friday. Help me, the test is going to cover these things. Help me figure out a study plan for the week, something like that. And it can suggest it. And it can even be set up to quiz them, right? And things like that. They can use it for homework or assistance with studying, which could be very powerful for our students that go home their parents might be working or whatever, and they don't maybe have the same support at home for studying and homework. They can also, if they write a paper or something, they can put the paper in and say, I've really been working on trying to have better organization of my thoughts and better word choice. Can you please give me some feedback to help me improve this piece of writing that I've done? Or I'm really struggling with linear equations. Can you help me break down the steps? I'm struggling with that. They can use it as a vocabulary generator to help them develop a more robust vocabulary in different content areas. They can definitely use it to brainstorm ideas. I've been doing that a lot lately. It's very fun. It has great ideas, and then you can build on the ideas. So that's something that can help students get unstuck sometimes when they're stuck. And then also if there's just a concept that they're not getting and they need some help visualizing it, these technologies can definitely help them support concept visualization and things like that. And we had hoped to show you some examples of these things happening because it happens so quick. And
We
you'd
have
be
them
like,
ready, but we are just out of time.
And then we decided we're not going to have time, so we got to get to the meat of it. So these, again, just scratching the surface, are some of the things that it can be used to really empower both staff and students to increase efficiency and give them that opportunity to expand to bigger concepts and things like that to build them. Going back then to those things to consider, right? There are definitely pieces of artificial intelligence, of technology in general, right? Digital citizenship, this is Digital Citizenship Week, coming up next week. But digital citizenship is a huge focus for us in the district with all the technology we use. But there are some specific things that we have to acknowledge when it comes to the use of artificial intelligence. The first is there are fears and concerns in the public, like we were talking about in the headlines you hear. Everything from, AI is going to replace us all and we're not going to have jobs, to it's going to take over the world. Some of the fears might be sensationalized, but many of them are very, very valid. And that is something that, for me personally, why I was excited to get these conversations started as soon as possible. Because it's actually many of the things on this list that I believe if we didn't go here, some of those headlines early on were about schools and districts banning AI and we're going to shut it down and all those things. If we were to do something like that, then our students would not have the opportunity to learn about these things. And like Natalie said, they're already using these technologies on their personal devices. So where else besides school are they going to be educated on the potentials for harm or the pitfalls, right? I believe very, very strongly that it is our responsibility to make sure that the students in our district are equipped to handle working with technologies like this in responsible, ethical manners, and that they leave our district with the skills that they need to use technology like this, which will very likely be used in the workforce. It's future-ready skills that they need, but we want them to have the skills to be able to do that ethically and responsibly, and to be able, as they leave as graduates of Moriarty High School, to be engaged citizens, to be part of the solution of what might come from this, the good that can come from it, and to help, be not participating in the bad things, whether they knew they were or not, right?
The next thing to consider, very seriously is, students' data and data privacy. And so in the program that Chris referenced as part of our purchase of our new CS program that we will be implementing K-12 next year, but in the spring we're really looking at a rollout of K-8. A component of that is something called Chat for Schools. And what Chat for Schools does is it puts a safety wall around the district and the student use of Chat GPT. Chat GPT is powered.
Chat GPT.
Chat for Schools is powered by Chat GPT, but it's protected, if you will. And so students, when they are in chat, utilizing Chat for Schools, it does all the same things because it's powered by Chat GPT, but teachers have full control. Any words that teachers, any staff have put into the computer to say, I want to know if the child or the student is typing this type of words, self-harm words, violent words, drug use, anything like that, or words that might key them into, I'm trying to maybe get the answer on the test, right? Like Shakespeare, right? We're doing an assignment on Shakespeare, and I don't want them to, if you will, Google chatbot Shakespeare. So I'm going to lock that word down. They can't use it. It alerts the teacher if any of that happens, and then it archives and stores every student's search or conversation forever. Teachers have that. So it's all on a dashboard and it's all there. The Chat for Schools is protected. It has the same privacy as it is COPA compliant and FERPA compliant, and it has the same level of privacy and safety security as any other app that we're using in school or platform we're using in the school district, such as Schoology, PowerSchool. It's at that level.
Another thing that can happen with these technologies is misinformation. Sometimes it's very eager to answer your question because that's what it's been trained to do, but if it doesn't have the answer, it's going to give you an answer anyway. So we have to teach our students that some of the information that it returns is not accurate. It's not real, and they need to be aware that they need to find those things. They're called hallucinations. That's the real term for that. And another form of misinformation would be like the deep fakes and some of the things that you might be hearing about on the news. We want to make sure our students know about those things as well.
The other thing is bias. So it is a chat bot, and where it gains its information, the source that it comes from, we do not know. And so all of that information that the source provided the chatbot could have been created with a bias in anything. We don't know where that's coming from. So educating our students and our staff with using those critical thinking skills, when they get a response, where did this come from? What lens did this come from? And how should you interpret it to co-collaborate with it?
And then the last piece, of course, is equity, which is part of what we're working on with this whole thing. We've talked about like the digital equity gap, right? We've made sure our students have access to devices already. We've worked very hard to make sure that all of our students have access to quality instruction around technology. And then now we want to make sure that they have this opportunity to be exposed to and learn how to use appropriately artificial intelligence so that when they go into the digital landscape of future work, that they have the skills they need to be competitive in that environment and to get done what will need to be done there. Okay.
All right. So let's take a look together with. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you. Together, some teachers, administrators, Superintendent Viviano, Chris and I, and the technology committee, which the technology consists of teachers, administrators, the IT department. We decided we better get a policy in order. So we really, when we decided that that's where we were going to go with this, we started looking at school board policy, current school board policy we have in place. One of the things that we talked about and we had a very lengthy discussion about was we really reflected on the board retreat from June, and we reflected on the conversation that we had when we tightened up and streamlined the your board strategic goals. And really reflecting on the achievement and technology goal and our academic philosophy. Well, there's a policy for our academic philosophy. When we read the entire academic philosophy policy, we thought, in reflection of those conversations that we had this summer, the ideas and the language that the technology committee was using, that we have heard you use, that we have heard staff use, we thought that our overall arching philosophy of the use of emerging technologies and AI really belonged here, because we really want to work on continue our work in creating students that are future ready. And this is a huge component of that. So we just created this. Again, we used language that was used in the technology committee. We had input. We showed the technology committee the draft and changed some words. But this is what we would like to add. This will be in the board meeting for your first read. We believe in the transformative potential of technology, including emerging technologies, to enrich the educational experience. Our commitment is to harness these tools to enhance student learning and achievement. We place a strong instructional emphasis on the responsible and ethical use of technology, fostering the development of students' critical thinking skills. This empowers them to evaluate information effectively and utilize digital tools responsibly. Furthermore, we recognize the vital importance of nurturing information, media, and digital literacies in our students, preparing them for success in the ever-evolving landscape of future workforce. We really felt like this paragraph encapsulated everybody's thoughts and also captured the conversations we heard about the future of what you all would like to see when we talk about our educational philosophy. Any questions about that?
No, I really like it. You guys have done a really good job.
Next, so then there's the nuts and bolts, right? the policy. And so we kind of went back and forth. We scoured the manual and we looked at where a policy could fit. Would it be a standalone policy? Hello, sir.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing well, thank you.
We thought, would it be a standalone policy, or is there already a policy that where it would fit? And there is a policy in our manual that the title is Technology Resources, but all that it has on it, the entire policy was here in black, and it was movies and videos. That's all it was. So we thought, well, that's a perfect place because it is a resource and it is technology. So we did put it, on this policy, we've put it on here as a draft for your first read. And this is the nuts and bolts. we have about 8 minutes. I'm going to I'm not going to read the first 2 paragraphs. Please, I think you have them in front of you. But I would like to go down and read the guidelines.
Can I just say something about the human in the loop?
Yes.
In the first paragraph, it does reference a principle called the human in the loop. And that comes straight from the U.S. Department of Education. The Education Technology Department put out guidance for the development of AI policy in education. And the very first principle that they believe, and we agreed, that policy should absolutely stress the idea of human in the loop, which means the human is in control, the human is going to review and read and check for accuracy and all the things that we've talked about. Like everything resides back with the human. So.
In all of this, one of I think our biggest priority is really focusing on the process versus the product when we're working with students. The use of this is really to spark that critical thinking and adding a step, giving students a tool to add a step to help them to, as Chris said earlier, become unstuck. But really, we don't want students, and in our professional development, as that kicks off, it's really going to be focusing on the process. And so what does a prompt look like? What can you ask it? The more in-depth your input, the more in-depth your output is really what it comes to. So for guidelines, student responsibility and transparency. Students are encouraged to use AI and other emerging technologies responsibly, transparently, understanding that these tools are meant to complement their educational journey. So it's not a replacement, it's just there if they need it, when they need it. Students shall use AI tools in accordance with the district's policy and regulation regarding electronic information services. So that means they have to use this following the same rules that are in our acceptable use policy for all other technology. Students shall not attempt to pass off AI generated content as their own work. The use of AI tools should be for assistance and enhancement, not substitution. Students must be able to explain how they used AI tools to complete their work and demonstrate their own understanding of the material. That's where that process comes in. So as a staff member, being able to talk to that student and say, well, how did you use that and why? What did you ask it? Why didn't you ask it this? Or what could you have asked it differently? And then students will clearly communicate the role of AI tools used in creating original work by properly citing and or documenting AI contributions according to the assignment or task requirement.
Do you have any questions about
Students?
that section? Student responsibility?
Did you use AI to write that?
Right.
So we're going to get to that. Staff expectations. Staff members are permitted and encouraged to use AI technologies to augment their professional practice, exercising and modeling the same level of responsible, ethical, and transparent use we expect from students. Staff should offer guidance on how students can effectively use AI technologies to augment their learning experience while preserving the originality of their work. Staff should monitor student use of AI tools to ensure that students are using them in a responsible and ethical manner. Staff are responsible for providing clear expectations regarding the use of AI tools in their courses. And staff shall specify when and to what extent the use of AI tools is approved for particular assignments, tasks, projects, or assessments. Any questions on the staff?
I'm going to interrupt for a second. So we have a little over 5 or 6 minutes. Would it be appropriate, I hate to break your rhythm because you both are doing a really great job. Would it be appropriate to take a break, start the meeting, and then maybe during your presentation, continue it?
We can.
Even, we won't even make you wait for the policy. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that would be acceptable, right? I mean, to
Sure. Yeah.
start the regular meeting
Yes.
and then bring you back in during the Director of Learning Services.
And then I think we could probably continue when you,
And then-
with the staff expectations, right? I mean, it seems like a good breaking point. Otherwise, I think if you feel you can
Yes.
conclude it in the next 6 minutes. It's very, I think it's very important. I mean, so I want to give it the due time. I don't want to rush.
I would love to come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I have a feeling, yeah.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much. This has been very helpful, very reflective of the committee. So far, I'm on the technology committee, and I will say that this has been one of the more involved policies that I've seen, but nothing has been lost in translation in the conversations. I think the policy has really moved it along very, very well. I look forward to the questions and, concerns, but with that, we will take a 5-minute break, come back, start the regular meeting at 7, and get this thing going.
Thanks. Thank you.
Mr. Adams?